All right, we're going to build on what we talked about yesterday. So if we have an equation y equals mx plus b, this is the slope, this is the y-intercept. There's going to be a couple situations. So for example, you get an equation like this, and then it says, okay, we have this equation, and it's saying this is parallel to this equation. So we know that if lines are parallel, they have the same slope. So I'd be able to say, well, okay, then this would be the equation. Let's say instead, the question was saying it's actually perpendicular to this. So the equation would be, and they gave you the y-intercept, and they said the y-intercept is, I don't know, 8. So I'd say, okay, I don't know the slope, but I know the y-intercept's 8, because it told it to me. If it's perpendicular, I can use the slope, and it has to be the negative reciprocal. That's from last chapter. So that means this would be negative 1 over 3, and that would be the equation. This is just building on what we talked about in the last chapter, but the same basic idea. So there's two special cases where our equation of y equals mx plus b doesn't work super great. Let's sketch a diagram. If we have a graph like this, okay, I'm going to use this graph to try and write an equation. So from here to here, my rise over run is my slope. My rise from here to here was 0 because it didn't go up. The run, let's say it's 5. It doesn't matter because 0 divided by 5 is 0. So my slope is 0. So if I wrote an equation, it would be y equals 0x plus whatever this number is. Let's call it 6. Okay? This would simplify because this would cancel out and it would just become y equals 6. This technically is in the form y equals mx plus b. It's just m is 0, so it's just y equals b. This makes sense logically, because if I read this out loud, this to me says y equals is 6. The only thing I would add is always. Y is always 6, which if you look at this line, every point on the line is 6. So this actually makes a lot of sense. The other weird situation you'll get is this kind of graph, vertical line. So let's do the slope again. It's rise over run. So in this situation, the rise, let's say it's like 6, I don't know, whatever, and the run is 0 because it doesn't go side to side. So the slope is not actually 0. That's not true. Any number divided by 0 is actually impossible. Okay, so it is undefined, which is a problem because our whole equation is y equals mx plus b, which means if there's no m value, if m was 0, it's okay because we could put that number in. I don't know how to sub undefined into my equation. So this equation doesn't actually work for this is the only type of line, any vertical lines. Okay, so we have to write it a different way. Now in the last question we wrote y equals 6, which made a lot of sense. Now in this question, the y values aren't always the same, but the x values are always the same. Let's say this x value is like 4. So I could write for this line, x is always equal to 4, and it would be true. So the idea is that this doesn't fit our equation, and we will talk about another type of equation where this works, but basically this is the special case for this type of line when it's vertical. I don't think you have to memorize it. You just have to realize that if you try and do it here, it won't work. And you just need to know, okay, wait, what do I do? Oh, I just need to write it a different way. And that's it. That's the key takeaway. Vertical lines, y equals something. Vertical is x equals something. Horizontal is y equals something. That's it.